What's up, guys? It's your boy Vic. Now today I'm bringing you this deck profile. But just so you know, this deck was actually the deck that I took to my locals this past Saturday. Before I got cards to tweak it a little bit, give it some improvements. I've been doing a lot of test runs with it. I did 4 duels with it, and so far it's pretty successful. One thing is, of course, it does take a lot of timing since I love anti-meta decks. So, but yeah, without further ado, let's get to this psy-frame deck profile. Now for the monster lineup, I play 3 alpha. Alpha, unlike the rest of the psy-frames, he actually does not negate anything. He actually reacts to the fact that your opponent normal or special summoning a monster. And when you do special summon from hand, just like the rest of the psy-frames, he basically says you must control the monsters on the field to activate his effect, the special. And after you special summon him, though, you're able to search for a psy-frame card from your deck. Yep. Add 1 psy-frame card from your deck to your hand. Just making sure that that's what that says. I don't like to be wrong, guys. As you know, if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me, and I will admit I am wrong. I'm not afraid to admit I'm wrong. Just like anybody else, I'm only human. Now, I only play 2 beta because I only have 2 beta right now. I'm looking for a third. Once I get a third, he will be put in this deck because I want to run almost all of them at 3, because right now, especially with the way the format is, it's going to be crazy. Traps are relevant again, with Solemn Judgment off the ban list and everything. So I do run Epsilon, which actually Epsilon's the one that negates traps, but just not counter traps. Just so you know, because all the psy-frames, they act as quick effects. So technically they're spell speed 2. They're not higher than spell speed 2. So just so you know, you can't go off anything else. Okay, now psy-frame Delta. Psy-frame Delta, just so you know, he reacts to your opponent playing a spell card. He negates the spell card, destroys it, special summons, and of course, just like the rest of the other psy-frames, they special summon Driver from hand, deck, or graveyard as well. Speaking of Driver, I do play him at 3. Oops, my fault. I do play him at 3. Just like most people say, if you run out of Driver or you run out of the field spell, it's game. It's like you can't do nothing else. So Driver is very relevant in this deck. You do not, if you're running a psy-frame deck, you don't want your opponent to get rid of all 3 of your Drivers by banishing them, or you banishing them yourself, because all the psy-frames all say when they're special summoned from your hand by, of course, like reacting to whatever the card's effect is. If psy-frame circuit, the field spell, is not on the field and you don't synchro with them right away, or your opponent does not destroy them, they don't go to grave. At the end of the turn, they banish themselves. That banishes the psy-frame card and whatever Driver is on field with it. So that is really important. You guys have to pay attention to that. I ran 1 Epsilon at my locals Saturday, last Saturday. I only won once. A lot of opponents were very well prepared against me. Mainly the fact that there was the one time I actually did Pot of Desires, and Driver ended up banished, and I already had banished 2 before that. That was one of my matches. I lost to a Weather Painter deck that day. I actually lost to a Noble Knight deck because I couldn't draw into my betas. So because I couldn't draw into my betas, the 2 betas that I have, more or less I actually screwed myself. So that really got me. A lot of people don't know the weakness of this deck is if, let's say, your opponent doesn't, if you're running a psy-frame deck and you don't have beta in hand or alpha, and let's say your opponent doesn't activate any monster effects, so you can't gamma, or they don't activate spell effects, so you can't delta, and they don't activate any trap effects, so you don't epsilon, you're pretty much screwed. Like, your opponent can just keep chucking away at your life, and that's it. Just so you know. Like, so I've learned how to work, around the weaknesses of the deck and more or less work it. Basically, you actually have to see in person. I played 3 Gamma. I'm so mad he's getting a reprint because I just got all 3 of these. He's the one that he could stop hand traps or monster effects. Like, because the hand traps activate from hand, so that's a monster effect. So he basically negates that and destroys it. Same thing with a monster effect that activates on field. He negates and destroys. I freaking love Gamma. Gamma is like, Gamma is the nut in this deck. Like, for real. Like, he's so awesome. Like, you don't even understand. On some realness, like, I love him so much in this deck. Him and Beta, Gamma and Beta are like the two of my favorite ones to go into. Like, if my opponent normal special summons a monster, I basically, if I have Alpha in hand, I'll Alpha, and then I'll either go into Gamma or Beta because, well, why not? Like, you can go into them. Those two have the most relevant uses in this deck against any other card in this game. Because most people play the aggressive way. They want to beat at your life points or activate effects. They can't help but when they want to go search. Gammas, you could stop it. No searching if it's a monster effect. Like, it's ridiculous. This weekend I actually beat my brother's Dark Synchro deck. As a matter of fact, he just kept trying to search, or go into his plays, and I was like, Gamma says no to your monster effects. He would try to attack me. It'd be like, Beta says no. Almost made my brother rage quit. It was actually really funny. But now to continue, because I'm taking too long, I apologize. I play one psy-frame multi-thread. Now, psy-frame multi-thread, he's basically like the dope hand. He is just like all of them. He's like a hand trap, more or less. Besides the fact of when one of his effects says that if you summon a psy-frame gear tuner to special summon him to your field, if he's in hand or grave, he acts as a psy-frame driver. Not only that, so basically he could be used in place of one of the drivers. If he's in hand or grave, you can just special summon him. Or when a psy-frame gear is special summoned and this guy is in your graveyard, you can special summon him also that way. See, this card's name becomes psy-frame driver while it is in a hand or a graveyard. If a psy-frame card or card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you could discard this card instead. So he is a freaking, he protects all of them. Like, he also protects the field spell, so that's why I also play him at 1. I don't want to play any more than 1. I might end up doing it, but with the way I want to run this deck, I actually might end up playing 1 or 2 more Epsilons with the way the format's going to be, because I'm taking this deck to regional, so we'll see how that goes. But just like the rest of them, he says, but banish it when it leaves the field. Well, he's not like the rest. The rest of them basically say, at the end of the turn, if you don't psy-frame circuit them, if you don't synchro them right away, since most of the time when you special summon them, it's usually during your opponent's turn. They're very reactive to what your opponent does. You basically want to counter everything that they do. But of course, they all say you can special summon them while you control no monsters. So that's why a lot of people always end up going to like Omega, banishing, and then, your opponent activates another one, Gamma, another Omega, banish a card from hand again, boom, he's banished also. So you always have an open field with this deck. Or at least you want to. Remember that. You always want to. I play 3 Doom Caliber Knights. I apologize. It's like getting really late, but I completely apologize. It is really disrespectful for me yawning so much, but I played 3 Doom Caliber Knights because this deck, you're doing a lot of special summoning, but it always involves you having an open field. So I do want a beat stick one way or another, in this deck, but also because of the fact that, while he's on field during either player's turn, if a monster effect is activated, you negate it. By tributing him, you negate the activation and destroy the monster. But you have to also be careful because that also applies to your cards also. You always have to be very wary of that. I play 2 card D. I know I may get a lot of crap from other psy-frame players, but believe it or not, this is my most comfortable build. My build is basically, honestly, it's based off of my boy 3 Stacks' build. The way he made his psy-frames, you know, from Team Kings of Games. But I put a little twist on it and added the multi-threader, one multi-threader, and also added Epsilon. And also for my own spicy tech, he sided it in, but I preferred to play it in the deck. One Gamma Seal, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. He actually, believe it or not, Gamma Seal actually helped me win the one match during my locals. Now, mind you, the locals was on Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. There was like more than 40 players there. There was actually probably over 50 players there. Of course, throughout the matches, as the matches are going on, the time's going on, you know, people started leaving and so on and so forth. And by the time most of the people were gone, it came down to, you know, in the system as 40 people. So I made 27 plays out of 40 people, even though there was probably 50 or 60 to be honest. So I think I did very relatively well considering the fact that a lot of players came from a lot of different areas in PA to participate in Yu-Gi-Oh! Day, and it was freaking crazy. Oh, by the way, the pack that they passed out was an Extreme Force pack. It was completely freaking garbage. I was so mad. The pulls that I got. I play 3 psy-frame circuit. This is the field spell. Not only that, but when you special summon a psy-frame monster, when you special summon a psy-frame monster, except during your damage step, you can immediately, after the effect results, synchro summon 1 synchro monster with psy-frame monsters you control. This card is completely freaking, this is this is the juice. For real, this is the juice. This is why I play psy-frame multi-threader. You want to protect your field spell. Either for protect your field spell or always make sure you have your field spell presence always on the field, because that's the only way this deck does not banish itself to death and you lose the game. It's like protect the castle. But not only that, but if a psy-frame monster you control battles an opponent's monster, you can discard 1 psy-frame monster from your hand, and the battling monster gains attack equal to the discarded monster's attack. It's freaking awesome. Now for the draw power, honestly, I play 2 Potted Desires. Now, you don't want to Potted Desire right away because you don't want to banish all your drivers, you don't want to banish all your psy-frame circuits, so I prefer to wait later on in the game. You know, I literally took my boy 3 Stacks' advice on how he explained the deck work to the T, and I freaking love it. Can't even lie. I played 3 Terraforming. Why? Because you want to search the field spell. But here's the spicy tech also that I also said that I play my deck a little differently than other people play the deck. I played 2 Ladder Redemption because if you don't run into the field spell right away, you don't run into your terraformings, literally you banish your monsters, and because of that you banish your drivers and so on and so forth. I play Ladder Redemption, boom, pay 800 and bring driver back to hand. That way I still always have driver. I play 1 E-Telly. Believe it or not, I actually am able to make Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon in this deck, and I freaking love it because I actually, believe it or not, a lot of these techs that I put in this deck are because I ended up changing the deck after my locals because I realized a lot of the weaknesses in the deck. So this is basically the upgraded version of what I played, because I had a set rotation Oracle Zephyra. Believe it or not, I only ran into set rotation once during that duel. I actually saw Oracle of Zephyra a lot more than my set rotation, which had me very peeved off, to be honest. I was like, you kidding me? This is dead. I can't do nothing with this. So I took it out. But of course, since it was during the tournament, I didn't take it out. I didn't have any side cards to change it out. I just made this deck. I bought the deck, tweaked it out, and then just played with it the way it was. I apologize. 3 psy-frame Overload. Now, not only is this card very beneficial because of the fact if you once per turn you can banish 1 psy-frame monster from your hand, and you banish one of your opponent's monsters face down, like, or target one card in the field and banish it face down. So it's like freaking disgusting. The only thing was is that the one duel I lost because the one guy, he was running like a Lightsworn deck with a crazy twist to it. He ended up making Borreload, and like I couldn't do nothing. Like I had Omega on field, and then he Borreloaded it with the effect of taking it, and I couldn't do nothing at all. Like I was like, "Oh, you kidding me? I can't psy-frame overload Borreload." Like, what is this? Like this, I can't target it. Like I was pretty pissed off. Also, I wasn't aware that I could have baited it and destroyed it, but you know, because all the psy-frames don't target. And 2, Metaverse, you know, because Metaverse basically, you can add a field spell from your deck to your hand, or choose to actually activate it. And I basically, the one time the one guy was like, Twin Twisters, you got a Twin Twister in my Metaverse, activate Metaverse, and I was like, okay, Metaverse, activate the effect, swap out my psy-frame circuit with another circuit, and he was like, you kidding me? I was like, yeah. Now for the extra deck. This is my extra deck version that I tweaked on, so mind you, a lot of decisions that I made in my deck are more comfortable to my playstyle compared to everybody else's, but there's also certain reasons why I did other cards. Stardust Charge Warrior, because of the fact, you know, you could attack all the special summon monsters. Not only that, when he synchro summon, you could draw a card. That's basically why main reason why. And the only reason why I thought of that is because there was a time that I had Doom Caliber Knight in the field and I had emergency teleport face down. I could have emergency teleported. It could have got any of my other ones like Epsilon or anything else that were the level 2s, and I could have synchroed right away into something to have something more stronger presence on the field than what I had. And I could have got rid of more monsters, but it is what it is. I mean, I might end up changing that one way or another. But 2 Black Rose Dragons, because you could synchro during your opponent's turn, blow up their field. Awesome. Now this is, I'm only playing this because I don't have freaking at least 3 Omegas. I want to play 3 Omegas because I can actually make 3 Omegas in one turn. I've actually made like 2 to 3 Zetas per turn also. Like Zeta is pretty nice though. I really like him a lot. Clearwing Synchro Dragon, Michael the Arc Lightsworn, Stardust Dragon, Thought Ruler Arcfiend. I literally did not make this card at all during the tournament. I was pretty peeved off about that. Psyframe Lure Omega. I only have one, so I'm only playing one. Apologize. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. I actually made him once, and my opponent was actually really pissed off that I was actually. He was like, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. He's a Red Dragon Archfiend. I said, yeah. They were like, why? He had all attack position monsters, and I was like, yeah. Once per turn during your main phase, you could destroy all other face-up attack position monsters on the field. He was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah. So say bye-bye to your monster, send them to the grave. He was like, that's bull. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, Hyper Psychic Blaster, and Overmind Arcfiend. Now these 2 cards, out of these 2 cards, I didn't make this one ever, but I did actually make Overmind Arcfiend, and my one opponent, he was like, Overmind Arcfiend, what is that? And I was like, oh, this card's really nice. I was like, so basically, once per turn, I can select a psychic type monster on my graveyard and remove and play. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, special summon as many as possible that were removed from play by this effect. He was like, wait, what? And plus he's a 3,300 attack level 9, so my opponent really was not expecting that, and when I actually made it, he was like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, bro. I was beating over all his cards. He was like, I got nothing that could top that card, so he finally destroys it, and then for nothing, because I actually ended up bringing back all my psy-frames, a psy-frame driver, and then ended up synchroning it to something else immediately because I had psy-frame circuit on the field. He was like, what the? Oh. And I actually almost made, like, at the tournament, like, 3 people almost rage quit on me, which I thought was actually really hilarious. Like, you don't even understand. But, oh. I dropped my card. Oh man, it's already 19 minutes. But thank you guys for watching.
Bye.